Well, hi folks, just coming up to 1st of April now, so time to get the main sowing done. So today I'm going to sow about 6 lots of lettuce. I'm going to sow my peas in the gutters as usual. I've got 2 lots of cabbages. I've got a Savoy and a red cabbage. I'm going to sow some sweet peas in the modules this year rather than in pots and ripping them to bits like you do and planting them out. I'm going to see if they grow better like that. What else have we got? Got some kale, and I'm going to try some radish as well, and I'm going to plant my tomatoes. So we'll get on with it. I'll start off with the peas. Now, as you know, if you've been watching me for a while, I like to plant my peas, start them off in guttering like this. It just tends to give them a nice quick start, especially when it's cold outside. I never have much success planting peas straight into the ground. They either rot off because it's too cold and wet, or the mice seem to dig them up. So this way it just seems to be ideal for me. Just plant them in a long gutter like this. I've got 2 lengths of this because I've got about a 12-foot row. Just bog standard compost, and then once they start growing, once they're big enough to transplant, you can just slide the whole gutter out, soil and roots intact, and you can just slide that into a trench in your garden, and they just seem to grow away really well. So like I said, I've been doing it for a while now. It's always given good results. Don't seem to have any misfires because you can get these to germinate in a bit of warmth indoors before they go out. So you're guaranteed to get a decent germination, as opposed to just planting them outside in the cold soil. So like I said, just bog standard compost. Fill it up, leave about an inch at the top. Get your peas. These are Hurst green shaft, as always. And what I'm going to do with these, never bother with all this fucking about placing them 2 inches apart. I like to grow them quite close together, so I'll just spread them on the top. Don't care if they're half an inch apart, an inch apart. I'd rather have more, then at least you can take some out if you get too many. Whereas if you just plant them really sparsely and they don't germinate very well, then basically you're just going to have a pretty poor crop, because you're not going to have many plants to go at. So like that, like I said, couldn't be easier. None of this messing about. Just get them nicely distributed like so, and then as easy as pie, just cover them up about another centimetre, ½ inch of compost. No need to put any more depth than that, like you would plant them outside, because they'll just start coming straight through once they get a bit of warmth. Like I said, I'll keep these indoors until they start to germinate, and I'll move them into the, well, I've not got a polytunnel anymore, greenhouse. I've made like a giant cold frame indoors. I'll show you that in another video. So they'll go in there to grow on, and then once they're about 4 or 5 inches tall, maybe even 3 inches tall, we'll just transplant the whole lot into the trench in a bed, and off they go. So that's the peas. I've got more to do with those, but that's the general idea. So my tomatoes, what I like to do with tomatoes is just grow them in a pot. Put about 10 seeds in one pot. And find my tomatoes. Cherry falls, these are called. They're a small cherry hanging basket type. 25 seeds. Like I said, I like to, it's getting a bit windy, things might start blowing away. I like to sow them in a single pot like this, and then prick them out. It's about the only thing I do prick out, but tomatoes, I find that they do benefit from it, because they can get a bit leggy, and this way you can just bury the stalk and make sure that they're nice stocky plants. So I'm going to plant about, what I forgot there, I only want about 6, so I'll plant about 12 seeds. See if I can get these back in without them blowing away. Possibly not. And all I'm going to do with this, just add a tiniest little bit of compost. I've forgotten to bring my little sieve out, so just the tiniest bit. You can put vermiculite on, but they barely want to be covered. Put those in a little bit of warmth, maybe in a propagator, and then once they've got the first sort of true leaves on, then I like to try and transplant them. So I'll pull the plant out and then plant it in a single pot. There they are, blowing away, and burying any stem that's extended, so you get a nice stumpy plant. So that's the tomatoes. Couldn't be easier. So like I said, lettuce this year, I'm growing loads of different ones, because my favourite lettuce, Multigreen 3, they seem to have discontinued it. Every time I find a really good sort of multi-leaved, tightly headed lettuce, they tend to discontinue it for some reason. So I couldn't find anything similar apart from this new one called Verdagio, but that was really expensive. 20 seeds I got for £2.99, 20 seeds, so a bit on the expensive side, but we'll see how they go. It looks like a really good variety. It's a new variety to the market. It's more of a commercial variety, I think, because it's got such brilliant qualities. It's called a coral type, believe it or not, and it must be. These are actually pelleted seeds, if you say. Don't usually get that in a packet, so they're definitely a commercial seed. I don't even think there's 20 in there. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to plant many of these. I'm just going to put one in each. I've made a little impression in my compost. I'm just going to put one in each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 5 will do for a first go. No, we'll do. In fact, we'll do them another way. We'll do 8 that way. So pelleted seed should, I would imagine, would give 100% germination. So that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Oh no, there are 20. Not very generous, are they? 20. So that's 15p a lettuce, so it's not really that cost effective, but like I said, I just wanted to give them a go anyway. So that's those, and I've got another variety, Paris Island Cos. I'm not growing Little Gem anymore because I can never get them to heart up for some reason. So these Paris Island Cos are the sort of bigger cos lettuce, if you will, the ones that you can make Caesar salads out of and stuff. They've got big leaves, so plenty of seeds, 2,500 seeds, so these are really cheap. So instead of getting 20 seeds, I've got 2,500 seeds. Oh dear. They have some silly little packets, so there's absolutely millions, so there's no need to be picky with these. I'll just put 2 or 3 in each one. Try not to let them blow away. Oh god, I put about 10 in that one. And then all I'm going to do is just lightly cover them up with the stuff around the edge. Yeah, I've never grown pelleted seed before, so we'll see how these get on. So I'm just going to cover them up lightly, give them a bit of watering in. These won't go into any propagator, they'll just go into on the window ledge or something like that. It's better just write down what they were. Cost, especially when they're that expensive. I don't want to be thinning those out. Which one was it? Verdagio. Right, that's Verdagio in there. Just give them a little bit of a watering in. Put my little propagator top on. It's a little bit dry, this compost, to be honest. So what have we got next? We'll just do, yeah, I'll forget that. I've got plenty of lettuce to sow, so I'll do all those later. So like I said, sweet peas, what I usually do, well, to be honest, what I usually do is I just buy a little pot of peas with plants in. But I've always found that when you have to separate them, you're just giving them so much stress, and you end up planting a little plant with a few straggly leaves, a few straggly roots, and they just tend to just nearly die. They do perk up eventually, but never seem to be too good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grow my own this year. Spencer's mix, which is the general bog standard sweet pea, lovely scent. And like I said, I'm going to grow them in single modules, so then I can plant the whole module. There'll be no root disturbance, and they should be off to a better start. So I've got 100 peas here, and I've got what, 40. So again, I can afford to put 2 in each one of these, and I'll just shove them in a little bit. I'll just do this one here. Yeah, I know you can get proper sweet pea root trainers, because peas have got deep roots. I think they're the ones with they're about sort of 6 inches long, with a deep root run, as opposed to growing them in pots and then just ripping them apart like I have done in the past. So this is a sort of a similar idea, if you will. So all I'm going to do with these, just push them in about half an inch, cover them up, as with everything else. No need to be too subtle with peas, because they're quite a big seed. They'll push their way through anything. I always like to grow sweet peas. There's something to pick. I'm not a big flower grower, but sweet peas are good. So again, with those, I'll just water them, put a propagator top on, and they should be good to go. So what else have we got? Oh yeah, and I'm going to grow some radish. I've not grown radish. To be honest, I'm not a big fan. I'm just hoping that my taste buds have got more accustomed to it. So I'm just going to grow these in a pot. I'm not going to plant them out. These will just be grown in this pot. And we'll see how we get on. I've got a variety called French Breakfast 3 or something, whatever that is, whatever that means. I think they're the little red ones. So I always used to find that I thought they tasted a bit like soapy water to me and gave me indigestion, so it's not exactly the nicest thing to grow. But we'll give it a go. We can but see. So I'll just grow them in this pot here. If I can find them. Where have they gone? Radish. 10 grams, there's millions in there. French Breakfast 2, oh, they mustn't be as... Oh, they're quite big seeds as well, these, so... I'll just broadcast them a bit, and then thin them out to about maybe an inch apart. So I'll probably get about 20 in this pot, so it's just something to have a little play with, see what they're like. Again, I've forgotten my riddle. I'll just give it a slight, tiniest little bit of cover. I think some more seeds have blown away. So that's the radish done. That couldn't be easier. So I think that's it really. Everything else is sown pretty much the same. Got my cabbages, kale, rocket. I've got some American land cress as well this year. It's pretty similar to cress, you just got to keep it really well watered, so I'll try some of that. And I'll grow some more spring onions, but other than that, that's about it I think. That's about the main planting done this year, so I'll get everything done. It'll all go into my greenhouse, my new greenhouse construction thing, and I'll show you what that looks like. So anyway folks, we're off and we're away. We're planting this year. See you later.